I want to thank everyone for their patience and their support. We've gotten lots of messages saying, I hope you find a home soon. I can't wait to see your videos, and we really appreciate that. It's fall, and that means it is apple season. Today we're making Appelstroop, a cooked down syrup made of apple juice that Dutch people put on their bread, on some pastries, but also use in savory dishes such as hachee. It's a video I made a little while ago, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. Hi, I'm Toine, and welcome to my kitchen. If you're new to this channel, I focus on cooking foods from my home country, the Netherlands, and some of its former colonies, such as Indonesia. It's been a really long time since we've been able to record videos, but here we are in our new kitchen, and I am so glad that I'm able to share recipes with you again. Making Appelstroop is pretty straightforward. You only need one ingredient, apples, and maybe a little bit of sugar. What kind of apples do you need? I like to use sweet apples, such as Tango and Honeycrisps, but because I like my Appelstroop to have a little tartness, I always throw in a few Granny Smith apples. I have 6 pounds or 2.7 kilograms of apples here, but I can't tell you exactly how much Appelstroop this will make. It all depends on how much juice these apples yield. I've washed and dried these apples already, and now I'm going to core them. I'm coring these apples because I'm using a centrifugal juicer and I don't want any of the seeds in my juice. That is because apple seeds contain a little bit of arsenic. If you don't have a centrifugal juicer, there are other ways that you can make apple juice. One of them is by using a steam juicing pan. I'll put a link to one that you can find on Amazon in the description below. If you don't have a steam juicing pan, you can simply cut your apples into small pieces, cook them in some water, then let them sit overnight and press out all the juice of the apple sauce that you basically just made. But to me, the centrifugal juicer is the easiest way to do it. There's different kinds of apple cores. What I'm using is a peeler core combination, and all you do is simply insert it all the way through. You can see the little point coming out, and then rotating it. And now when you take it out, the core came out. I'm going to continue coring these apples, and when I'm done, I'll come back and we'll start making the juice. We're going to start juicing now. I have a pretty wide feeder tube, so these smaller apples fit in whole. If they don't, I'll cut them in half. Okay, I'm going to turn on the juicer. It's going to make some noise at high speed. It helps when I push the wheel button. Smells so good. This one doesn't fit, so I'm going to cut it in half. As you can see, my juice container is filled half with juice and half with foam. I want to make sure that the rest of the apple juice can fit in here, so I'm going to pour off the juice and remove the foam so I can continue juicing. This definitely is a different color than apple juice in the store. All the red from the Honeycrisps and Tangos really show up in the juice. You don't have to throw away the foam. You can eat it plain, mix it in with some yogurt or ice cream. It is quite delicious. Okay, I'm going to continue juicing. When you juice a granny, it's really green coming out of the juicer. And that's it, I'm done juicing. I'm going to add my juice to this measuring cup. I want to have at least 1 liter. And if some of the foam comes in here, that's okay. I have a lot more, so I'm actually going to taste a little bit. It just smells like apples. Sweet with just a little bit of tartness. I'm going to finish this glass, but I'm going to pour the rest of it in my measuring cup. Off camera, my wife is enjoying eating the foam that we separated. Right now, I'm going to put the apple juice in a wide bottom pan so we can start cooking it down. The reason I'm using a wide bottom pan and not like a narrow saucepan is it will reduce a lot quicker in this than it will in a saucepan. It's okay if there's a little bit of foam in here. Now that this is empty enough, I can pour. This looks like a lot, but it's going to cook down quite a bit. The next step is to bring the juice to a boil over medium-high heat, and once it's boiling, we're going to turn it down and let it slowly reduce, stirring occasionally. I can see the steam coming off the pan and little bubbles on the bottom of the pan, so soon this will be boiling, and that's when I will turn down the heat. The juice is boiling. I'm going to stir it around a little bit. I'm going to wait for it to come to a boil again after I stirred it. The juice has come to a boil, so I'm going to lower the heat and let it simmer until it is reduced by about half of the volume. Then I'm going to taste it to see if it needs any sugar. As you can see, the juice has cooked down considerably. It's a dark color, but let's give it a taste to see if we want to add any sugar. Watch out, this is really hot. Okay. A very concentrated flavor, good amount of sweetness, but those Granny Smiths definitely add a lot of tartness to it. Right now it's good, but since we're going to cook it down a little further, I'm worried that the tartness will overpower. So I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of sugar. You don't need a lot. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of witte bastardsuiker, white caster sugar. We're going to stir it until it's all the way dissolved, and then we're going to let it cook a little bit longer. I think it is almost done. Because the syrup thickens as it cools down, it's hard to see if you've hit the right consistency when it's hot. So what I do is I take a little bit and put it on a cold plate. That will cool it off very quickly, and you can then check what the consistency will be after it's cooled down. Turn your heat down to low so you don't keep reducing your syrup. It's been about a minute since I put the syrup on the plate, and as you can see, it is quite thick. That is the consistency I'm looking for. So I'm going to turn off the heat and put the syrup in a jar. Now that I know that the consistency of this is right when it cools down, as it's warm, I'm going to pour it into a glass container. 1 liter of apple juice from 6 pounds of apples is cooked down to about 100 milliliters of Appelstroop. I'm going to let this cool down a little bit and taste it on a piece of bread. I've let the Appelstroop cool down a little bit. Take a look at that beautiful amber color. There's still some warmth to it, so the syrup is thinner than it will be when it's completely cool. I'm going to try it on some bread. If you make this recipe and you find that the syrup gets too thick to spread, put your glass jar in some simmering water to soften and warm it up so you can spread it. Eet Smakelijk. Growing up, this is how we ate Appelstroop, on a piece of bread. It's delicious, sweet with a little bit of tartness. I think that adding that sugar was the right call. You'll have to experiment with it. It all depends on the kind of apples and how sweet your juice is and how you like your Appelstroop to be. This also tastes delicious on pannenkoeken, which I have a recipe for that I'll post in the description below, or on ice cream, or on a slice of cake. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to share it with your friends. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below. I will post the written recipe on my website, toineskitchen.com, and you can follow me on social media. If you make Appelstroop, I would like it if you can take a photo, post it on Instagram with the hashtag ToinesKitchen. I will feature it in my story and on my website. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.